Welcome back to Lira and Law. Thank you very much again for joining me tonight. No, our usual Thursday get together between 7:30 until 8:30 p.m. And as usual, nga, big topic. We always have big topics, but I suppose that's the nature of immigration nowadays. Any topic is quite a big topic just because of changes nga, that's come about, or changes that will come about nga. And of course, there's just so much also, no, in the way of requirements. So topic po natin nga ngayon is from our, as usual, our viewer nga, our star question, no? So you get some bragging rights, but the topic nga is EU family applications from abroad, okay? Now, binasa ko kanina yung question nga, no? But let's just remind ourselves nga what are the facts. So tingnan nga natin. So fiancé siya in the so she's a fiancé in living in Romania. Yung fiancé niya nandito, he started living in the United Kingdom in 2018, okay? He has what they call pre-settled status. So hindi nga indefinite leave to remain, hindi settled status muna. Dati dumating siya dito 2018, and when he needed to apply nga for either settled status or pre-settled status by the 30th of June 2021, no, because we Brexited nga, no. And of course in 2021 hindi pa nga siya 5 taon dito, no. Kung 5 taon na siya, then he would probably have gotten settled status, which is equivalent to indefinite leave to remain. But at the time, he would only have been in the United Kingdom 3 years, which meant that he could only get pre-settled status. So hindi pa nga siya indefinite dito. But of course, now we're 2024, so it's entirely possible that he can make that application nga. So yun ang una. So yung fiancé niya, yung nagtatanong nga, yung fiancé niya nandito, Romanian siya, EU, which is obviously EU, may pre-settled status siya dito. And she's been in the United Kingdom since 2018. Yung nagtanong, our viewer nga, she's Filipina, o Filipino nga, living in Romania at the moment. Okay? She was married in the Philippines, okay? And that marriage has not yet been annulled. Alam niyo naman, wala tayong divorce sa atin, ano? Okay? But she's divorced in Romania. Interesting. Meron silang bata, meron silang anak. They have a child together, and that child's application to join the father in the UK has been granted. So those are the facts. Meron siyang ang questions niya. Tingnan natin. Una po, do you need to get, no, does she need to get her marriage in the Philippines annulled before she can remarry in Romania? Potentially, okay. I mean, I need to provide you there because I'm obviously not an expert in Romanian law. But can she remarry, even though she was divorced in Romania, but married in the Philippines? Okay. Now, second issue is, does the fiancé, nakatira nga dito, the Romanian citizen, does he need to have settled status as an EU national before he can sponsor her to enter the United Kingdom? Okay? So hindi pa siya permanente nga dito. He has what's called pre-settled status. No? Now, what application, okay, should she be submitting? Okay? And what are the requirements for that application? That's the biggest question of all. Okay? Now, tingnan natin. 2 possible options. And there's a magic date. As with most EU type applications now, there's a magic date, and the magic date here is the 31st of December 2020. Okay, and I'll tell you why in a moment. So, family relations. So, 31st of December 2020. Okay, so what does that mean? And what do you need? Why is that relevant? Nga, it points you, no, to what type of application you should be submitting under what law. No? So family relationships nga, that started before the 31st of December 2020 fall under what's called Appendix EUSS. No? EU settlement scheme, basically. Okay? While relationships starting after that date, so 31st of December 2020, so relationships that started after that date, so really it would be the 1st of January 2021, okay? Those applications fall under what's called Appendix FM, which is the usual law, no, that that you need to look at nga if you're making an application to join, say your sponsor nga in the UK because you have a relationship, either you're married, your fiance, for example, or you're unmarried, but you've been in a relationship like a marriage for over 2 years nga. So if you like, that's the immigration rules that apply to most people. But there are two options nga. Na hindi niyo sinabi sa akin, in fact, whether your relationship is started before or after the 31st of December 2020. I suspect it started before the 31st of December 2020, but just to be thorough, we're going to look up both, okay? So, sabihin natin, relationship started before the 31st of December 2020, okay? Now, kailangan ebidensya, like most things, okay? You need to provide evidence that where the EU citizen, that is yung fiancé mo, the Remain, was living in the United Kingdom by the 31st of December 2020. So, two things, ha? Una nga, your relationship must have existed before the 31st of December 2020. And yung fiancé mo, your sponsor nga, who's Romanian, has been living in the United Kingdom before the 31st of December 2020. So the magic date of 31st of December 2020 apply to two things, yung relationship and then the date that he was already in the United Kingdom. Now, let's say that you satisfy both, okay? So you were together, sabihin natin, in a relationship like a marriage in 2019 or indeed 2018 or before that, even bago siya pumasok nga dito. So before traveling to the UK, your family member or you must make an application under the EU settlement scheme, EUSS, for family permit. So EU settlement scheme, family permit. Once in the United Kingdom, so yun, kailangan yung pakita that you are entitled as a family member of the EU national nga to a family permit. So I'm going to take you through which family members would be entitled to apply, because not everyone, not all your family members would be entitled to apply. But let's say, let's look at that in a moment. So once in the United Kingdom, nagpasok kayo ng application, you were entitled. You obtained an EU settlement scheme family permit. Once you're in the United Kingdom, you must make an application for pre-settled or settled status. I suspect pre-settled status because, of course, you have not been in the UK for the required 5 years. But you must make an application, okay? And again, under the EU settlement scheme for within 3 months, okay, of the date of your arrival. And in any event, within before your EUSS that your family permit expires. 3 months po, that's the next date that you need to diarize nga. Beware, not all family members can apply. Okay. Now, tingnan natin who can apply. Who would they consider to be family members who can apply under and obtain an EU settlement scheme family permit. Tingnan natin. So, spouse, so husband and wife, kasanga kayo, or civil partner. Yeah? If you got married or formed a civil partnership by the 31st of December 2020. So, our viewer would not be entitled to that because you're not, sabi nga niya, that you're not married. Now, this one, you may be entitled to, tingnan natin. So your durable relationship, you are in a durable relationship, unmarried partner route. So hindi nga kayo kasal, okay? If you've been living together for 2 years or more, not living together, it's a relationship like a marriage, for 2 years or more before the magic date of 31st of December 2020. Kailangan nyo pakita. Now, kung meron kayong anak, sabi mo, may anak kayo, ewan ko kung ilang taon nga siya, kung 2 taon na nga siya, by the 31st of December 2020, so pinanganak siya, sabihin natin in 2018, then that's good evidence that actually your relationship has been ongoing you have had a durable relationship and it's been ongoing for at least 2 years before the 31st of December 2020. Okay? So there are also provisos nga for children, anak nyo, anak nga niya, also even dependent parent or indeed grandparent nga, no? So pero yung tanong mo nga, okay, you are fiancé, yung tawag mo sa sarili mo, you are fiancé, and that's fine. Yung nga lang, of course, you are married still in the Philippines, but you're divorced nga in Romania, okay? Now, sabihin natin nagpasok yung application, ano makukuha nyo? No? So, if you're successful with getting an EU settlement family permit, ang visang bibigay sa inyo, you can enter you can come in, stay for 6 months, okay? Within 3 months, sabi ko, you need to make an application for pre-settled status, okay? And then makukuha yung visa 5 years, pre-settled status. Hindi pa yung indefinite, okay? But you may, when you've been in the United Kingdom 5 years, with pre-settled status, then you can make an application actually for settlement, so which is the same as indefinite leave to remain, same as residente na kayo ibig sabihin, which is actually what your fiancé sponsor will hopefully get soon, because obviously he's been in the United Kingdom, living in the UK for a minimum of since 2018 2024 na tayo, no? Now, one big advantage of this application is there's no fee. Which is very, very unusual for the Home Office. So if you can prove the main thing here is really proving that you have been indeed in a durable relationship. Now, one thing you could also do is to marry. Ang problema nga lang, you have not been married, of course, since before the 31st of December 2020. So that doesn't help you. So you need to really, I would say, you need to concentrate on the durable relationship route, the unmarried partner route. Pero kailangan nyo you need to be able to show that your relationship has been existing and therefore durable relationship for 2 years or more before the 31st of December 2020. So it's no good now. No, you still need to show, of course, that your relationship is ongoing. But they want to see 31st of December 2018. The relationship has been ongoing by. Now, let's say you can't actually satisfy that route. Can you still look at other routes? Absolutely. Okay. So family relationships that started after the 31st of December 2020, okay, fall under what's called Appendix FM. Now, to our regular viewers, Appendix FM is something that I say all the time, just because lots of applications are made under Appendix FM. That is really mainly where you apply if you're entering the UK as a spouse, unmarried partner, fiancé, mga ganon. But that comes under the immigration rules. Ang tawag nga lang Appendix FM. So, pinalitan nila yon following our Brexit to include specifically EU nationals. Okay, so let me just read to you a little bit what that says. So the sponsor is in the UK with limited leave under Appendix EU. Okay, meaning an EEA national in the United Kingdom who holds valid limited leave to enter or remain, granted under paragraph EU3 of Appendix EU to these rules, settled or pre-settled status. What does that mean? It means if you have, kung nandito siya as an EU citizen with pre-settled status, your Romanian fiance, that would be that he can be a sponsor under this Appendix FM. Now, much like the other the EU route, no, the Appendix EU they define who they classify to be partners, okay? So, spouse, so kung kasal nga kayo, so that's why it's important pag-usapan din nga natin mamaya, can you marry, for example, no? Or civil partner, okay? Or your fiancé, so that means marrying in the United Kingdom nga, or proposed civil partner, okay? or an unmarried partner where the couple have been in a relationship like a marriage or civil partnership for at least 2 years before the date of the application. So not before the 31st of December 2020, but 2 years nga before the date of the application. So kung magpapasok yung application nga ngayon, anong peche na nga ngayon? November tayo, no? Are we 14th of November or something? Nakalimutan ko na. 14th, I think we're 14th of November. Let me just 14th of November. So 14th of November. So sabihin natin, you have been in a relationship nga like a marriage, 14th of November 2022, right? That's okay. So that's 2 years, in a relationship like a marriage, for at least 2 years before the date nga of the application. Okay? So that's why ito nga importante ito if you don't satisfy the 31st of December 2020 under the Appendix EU. Okay. Now, anong kailangan nyo pakita? Anong kailangan mo pakita if you need to rely on this? Income. I'm coming back to the income later on because we have a really interesting question to do with income specifically. Income, dahil panibago nga lang, nagbago nga ang income. It went from, at the beginning of the year, it went from 18,600 to now 29,000 pounds before tax. Okay? Accommodation, so kailangan meron kayong titira nga dito. English language, which is just the A1 level nga. Kung magagaling ka nga sa Romania, you don't need a negative TB, tuberculosis certificate. But if you're going home to the Philippines and making an application from there to enter the United Kingdom, you will need a negative TB certificate. And just beware nga, don't get it from any clinic and any hospital. There must be designated clinics nga, okay? So have a look at the Home Office website as to where the designated clinics are. I think meron nga siguro mga 7 o 8 na nga ngayon. So I know that there are, I think, 2 clinics, maybe now more, in Manila, and I think there was one in Davao. There was 1 or 2 in Cebu. So have a look at the designated clinics nga. And as I said, it same goes for the English language A1. It has to be an approved and designated test center nga. Of course, kailangan nyo din pakita nga genuineness of relationship. Of course, no? Now, kung yun makuha nyo, then ang bisang bibigay sa inyo unang-una, in the end, is 2.5 years. You can make an application for extension of that visa, another 2.5 years. And once you've been in the United Kingdom 5 years on that basis, then you can apply for indefinite leave to remain, which is settlement status. There is, by contrast to the Appendix EU, but there's a fee, okay? There's a Home Office fee, which is over £1,000. I can't remember exactly how much, over £1,000. But also there's an IHS fee, your contribution to the NHS, which is the Immigration Health Surcharge, which is actually, I think, something £2,700. So it's quite a bit in the way of fees. No? So it's not a cheap route, but it could be that you don't have any choice. So to our star questionnaire, our star viewer who gets a lot of bragging rights, no? If your relationship was formed before the 31st of December 2020, by that I mean either you married before December 2020 or you already clocked up 2 years durable relationship by the 31st of December 2020, then it may be an idea to have a look at that, because there's no Home Office fee. If, however, you do not have evidence nga na yun, or indeed the relationship has not in fact clocked up the 2 years, for example, prior to the 31st of December 2020, then you may not have any choice but to have a look at Appendix FM. And as I say, it doesn't mean it's a different application. It's I certainly looked at the law that they apply, the provisions that they apply are different, but doesn't mean it's necessarily a bad thing. Also, makakakuha ka din visa. It means you'll be able to enter the United Kingdom and, of course, pursue a family life nga here. It is just a more expensive route. So hopefully nga, that is of interest to you, and I hope that's helpful. No, I'd be really. I say this all the time, especially I'm at the, those who have bragging rights for because they managed to become the the star question. Yeah, no, I'd really be interested to know um, what happens, because it's I wouldn't mind knowing ano ba nangyari, no, which route did you decide to pursue, and absolutely, what actually are the consequences, no. Now, I hope you found our topic interesting, and as I say, the viewer who posed the question nga, salamat po. Thank you for taking the time, composing your question and then sending it to me. So hopefully nga that's been of help. No, now we have, as I've said, other questions nga equally interesting. But before we go to our other viewers with questions nga, let's first do our usual bati and section.